fire this thing up.
Frosty.
So, welcome to the first unnamed podcast, everybody. I hope, hopefully, we can come up with a better name in the future. For now, that's what we got.
Hey, that sounds like a classic to me.
It could be, certainly could be. So, we're gonna have two distinct sections. We're gonna have a gaming section and a sports section. So, what do you guys want to start with?
Don't really matter.
Okay.
You're the host.
I've got,
Yeah, I think it's right for you to decide.
well, I've got gaming on the left, sports on the right. So I'm gonna start on the left, and we'll make our way down. Um,
So does that mean when we switch over, we have to talk about sports games?
uh,
I don't think we'll be talking about any sports games.
I'm not sure exactly where sports games fall in the. It might be a gray area. Um, so the first thing that I have on here is Activision being
Ooh,
bought by Microsoft Studios, and I thought
huge.
that might be the most important thing to talk about it because I think it's the most significant um, sort of change in the video game industry in like uh, I don't know, it might be bigger than it might be just as big as Microsoft like coming out with the Xbox. I don't know. There hasn't
I don't know
really
if it's
been.
that big. I mean, who was it that Microsoft got? What was it? Bethesda? Do they own Bethesda now?
So they
I
bought
think
Well,
so.
Bethesda,
Yes.
um, and they had that was a $7 billion acquisition, and Activision is $70 billion, so 10 times that
jeez.
size. Um, and with Activision comes Blizzard, and also King, who is the developer of Candy Crush.
Wow.
So Microsoft now owns Candy Crush, which is
That explains the other 63 billion.
yeah, that is a very significant portion. I think it was like of the employees acquired. I think it was like 30% of them were for King and that whole mobile market that Activision had. So it's not an insignificant amount of people, and probably not an insignificant amount of money that they'll be bringing in through this deal. But
When did Microsoft acquire Bethesda? Was that last year?
it was last year. I think it was over a year ago. It might have been 2020.
Do we know what they've done, like as far as exclusives? Have they done anything?
I don't think there has been a game yet. I think that the first, and I'll have to check this. Is Elden Ring Bethesda? Are they doing that or no?
No, I don't think so.
Mm.
Um,
I know, what was it? Starfield? I think that's one of the big Bethesda games.
so Starfield is going to be the first big game since the acquisition, um, and so I think Microsoft has been definitely like slow playing this acquisition. Um, I don't. Bethesda was never one to sort of like be the AAA game year after year.
Mhm.
Anyways, but Starfield looks very cool. I don't
I was
know.
just trying to like figure out what to expect out of the Activision buyout. Like,
So I think, and I've heard from the podcast that I listen to that Call of Duty going forward, so like this generation right now, Infinite Warfare or whatever we've got right now. I don't even know because I don't play Warzone and all that is going to be PS5, PS4, all that. But beyond that, is going to be Xbox exclusive. So
wow.
That's what I was. Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from it is Call of Duty
yeah.
becoming an Xbox exclusive. Like that's crazy.
So I pulled up from Activision's website all the games on Activision right now. A lot of Call of Duty, but also Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, uh, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. They've got um, some smaller games, but not insignificant selling, like Skylanders,
Hmm.
um, which, as like somebody who plays video games as an adult, I couldn't care less, but there's probably a lot of money associated with that because I mean, they've been huge for like 10 years now. The Skylanders and their toys and all that stuff. So,
What about the Blizzard part of it? What do they
Blizzard
get
as
with
well.
that? They get
So
Overwatch. They
that's
get
mhm.
um,
Overwatch, World of Warcraft,
Ooh.
um, and then all the associated leagues. So like Overwatch has a professional league. They also gain ownership of that, and all the proceeds that could come with that. Um, so somebody was saying what might be the smartest thing to do, and I don't know if it's the smartest thing to do, but what would be a cool thing for them to do would be like World of Warcraft, Overwatch, everything, Activision, like Call of Duty, is the new Game Pass. And instead of 15, maybe $20 a month and maybe $30 a month, but I think 30 would be a lot, but
yeah.
um, maybe $20 a month. You get all of that World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Halo, all the first party Microsoft games. Then you throw them into a Game Pass.
Into a separate Game Pass? Is that what you're saying, or into Game Pass?
Just like it's the one Game Pass, and you just have
Mm.
like Halo, and you get all of it. I think it's so cool that they put Halo Infinite on Game Pass in the first place. I think that's one of the coolest things they've done in a long time. But with this, I don't know if they're really seeing like how the movie and TV show industry has these subscription services, and Game Pass has been pretty good for a long time, but having Halo like first day Game Pass, that's kind of like really significant. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Is this? Go ahead, Bill.
I was just gonna say I completely agree with that. I think their main focus going forward is definitely on the subscription based gaming
Mm-hmm.
instead of just selling titles.
I mean, it's hard to
Um,
justify ever spending $60 on a game now,
yeah,
especially.
especially now with I mean, on release, games are trash or tend to be kind of garbage.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely a lot of like early access and being able to patch games. I think it's made developers lazy, and it's made like people who play games like more accepting of flaws in games, which I don't think is good. I think if you're
Look
paying
at
$60 for a game, it should be working. It shouldn't be broken. It shouldn't have bugs. But
yeah, look
I don't
at
know.
Battlefield, the new Battlefield.
Yeah.
Um, that thing went down the tubes pretty fast, and I
Yep.
think I heard that they're gonna release it for free to play because it's the only way that they can salvage it.
Jeez.
It's really bad. And that game had such a good marketing, like PR push. Everybody was super excited for it, and it really, I mean, it got annihilated because of how buggy it was. Um, and I don't know. I think as games are like tending more towards this, like AAA, hundreds of people working on them, a lot of moving parts altogether. I think it's getting harder and harder to put together like a working game because they want everything to be Call of Duty, and everything can't really be Call of Duty unless you put in the time, the man hours, and the money to make it.
Yeah, but prior to this, I felt like Battlefield was at least competition, like a good competition,
It
right?
was.
I don't even know how well did Vanguard do. Is anybody liking that?
I haven't played it. I don't know really anything about Call of Duty, especially recently. I played even
Hmm.
less than you guys, and I don't know how much you guys have played, but
Um, like, is this the end of PlayStation? Like, can they even compete? Like, I know they still have their exclusives and all, but
mm-hmm.
do they end up just becoming a developer?
So what Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, was like going forward. He said the main competition he sees for Microsoft, and this was before the Activision deal, maybe a month ago. He said the main competition going forward is Apple and Google. He
Wow.
did not mention Sony at all as being a competitor in the gaming market,
Wow.
which is
So then
definitely slight.
does that mean that one of those Apple, Google, do they end up buying? I mean, surely they don't buy Sony, right?
I don't know how that would work. I know Google has like unlimited money, right? And they could if they wanted to, I think, but I don't know if it would make sense for them.
Hmm.
I don't even know, like, beyond this, are we going to get, like, a PlayStation 6? Like, the PS5 and Xbox One, Series X and S, or whatever, those releases were so botched with COVID that people still can't find a PS5, you know? So,
Mm.
it really makes it difficult because it wasn't, like, a traditional, like, Xbox One, Xbox 360 release where you get market saturation really quickly because they're still so scarce. I,
Hmm.
I don't know as far as like being able to track like PS6, whatever that's going to be, or the next generation of Xbox. You know, however long those are in the future, like 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years, whatever it is. Like, are we going to have a PlayStation 6, or is it going to be like PS5 Pro, and then it? You know, I think it's like really hard to tell right now.
Well, there's also the cloud gaming. I don't know if you've read anything about that. Like Xbox has cloud gaming now.
Mm,
So I don't know. Maybe consoles are just eventually just gonna go away.
yeah, I think the line has been blurred very much so between like, especially with Microsoft and PC now being very similar as far as library goes. The line has been blurred between console and Steam, and PS5 has their exclusive, Xbox has their exclusives, but I think they're getting rarer and rarer as far as like you look back at. And Nintendo is always like the outlier, but Nintendo has their games, their first party games, which they'll have like 6 to 8 of a year, like Mario Kirby, Zelda, all those, and you're never gonna find those another place. It's solely on Nintendo. But
Never. You
Yeah.
think never?
like never, yeah. You can't legitimately play any Zelda game on the computer.
In the
Other than
future?
in the future, I don't know. It's hard with Nintendo. You just like never know what they're gonna do because I don't know.
Yeah,
They're
I
so
I don't see Nintendo going away from consoles anytime soon
no.
because they have their customers who are so loyal. And like you were saying, like you can't find any of Nintendo's exclusives anywhere else,
Mm,
and you're never going to be able to
yeah.
because Nintendo's not going to sell to Microsoft.
I mean, if you had told me that Microsoft would own Activision, I would have told you you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I never saw that coming.
Uh, it was crazy, I think, for everybody. And the one of the reasons I read that it happened was because of, you know, the whole Activision PR thing with their customer relations and their PR really tanking, and
Hmm.
they sort of, I think, needed the purchase in order to like get some liability off them for investors and all that.
Hmm.
So I think it was more of like a situational thing, but I mean, it is, you know, still huge. Like, I don't know, I feel like things like this just don't really happen ever. I mean, how much was Star Wars bought for? Wasn't Star Wars bought for like $4 billion?
I have
Isn't that
no idea.
crazy?
Yeah, it was nothing close.
So there's like 15 Star Wars. Star Wars times 15 is
Wow.
what this purchase was. So I mean, and you think
Well,
That's
about
kind
I
of
mean,
crazy when you put it that way.
I mean, it's really crazy. So like, you think about how much money Star Wars has made too, just with their new trilogy and TV shows and video games. Like, how much money are they going to have to make with Activision through Call of Duty, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and their mobile games to recoup the $70 billion that they sent
sounds
out?
pretty easy. I mean, with
Yeah,
that lineup, like,
yeah,
I
yeah. To
mean,
be fair, those are all like generational like greats in their respective categories. You know.
they've also got Diablo. Like, don't forget about
mm,
that.
Yeah,
that's right. And the new Diablo's coming out soon.
yeah. They get a lot of, and there's a lot of smaller. I saw a graph. There's a great chart that broke down um, Activision into their individual branches,
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can pull that up. But it was really cool to see all like the breakdown of how many employees, and it was really mind blowing to see how big of a division that King was, their mobile studio. Um, like what a huge percentage of it that was. Um, and it is Microsoft's largest acquisition of all time. Um, LinkedIn was bought in 2017 for like 25 to 30 million dollars, or $30 billion. Sorry. So it's like LinkedIn times 1.5, which is
Crazy.
yeah. I mean, you think about um,
Why is LinkedIn worth that much?
uh, that's something I've never understood either. Is like Twitter is worth how many billions of dollars? Like $500 billion. It's like Twitter doesn't actually make any money. Like where's that money come from? Like ad sales or you know what I mean? Like it's not. They don't produce anything. They just exist, and people use. You don't pay for Twitter. There's no subscription fee. You can't buy anything on Twitter. So is it just ads?
Well, I guess on LinkedIn they do have a subscription service um, that I guess a bunch of recruiters use, and if you're looking for a job, you can use as well, and you get like a bunch of bonuses. So I guess there's money to be made there.
The entire gaming industry is 200 plus billion,
Mm-hmm. So they're
and
saying
they
that.
just spent 70 on one.
Yeah,
Yeah, how much of that is Microsoft now?
I mean, I have no idea. What was the Bethesda? Do we know?
Bethesda was $7 billion.
Crazy. How many people globally do you think played video games this year?
As like a percentage of the population,
Just a number.
just a number. So there's 7 billion people. I think I'd say 500 million played video games in some
3
capacity.
billion.
3 billion.
3
3
billion, which
billion?
they expect to grow to 4.5 billion by 2030.
So you're telling me
Oh.
almost half of the people in the world.
See,
That's
Play
that's the
insane.
games.
thing. Now they can't. Yeah, they include like mobile. Most of that's mobile games,
Hmm.
Yeah,
honestly, just because everyone has phones now
I think.
where they play games on so easy. And I think that's why that number 70 billion was partially so high because Candy Crush and they develop so many mobile games too
Mm,
that's a huge target.
yeah, yeah. Mobile gaming really is coming along, and I've got that graph now of the Xbox Game Studios. So it has a breakdown of Xbox Game Studios employees, and this includes so all of the Xbox Game Studios corporations that they originally owned, plus Bethesda, plus Activision Blizzard. Um, and Blizzard now makes up almost a third of all the
Wow.
employees. So Blizzard is bigger than Bethesda and the original Xbox Game Studios combined.
Wow.
Um, and that includes 343, that's Mojang with Minecraft, Obsidian, Rare, and some other smaller ones, Ninja Theory, um, and with Activision, King makes up, it looks like about maybe 20% of the employees, which isn't as much as I thought it was, but it's still like a significant amount, you know. They also have Treyarch, Infinity Ward, which are the Call of Duty. Um,
Yeah, that came. Yeah. Do we think that there's going to be a difference, like, in the quality of the games? Like, are they going to go up? What do we think?
I mean, you think about like monopolizing, right? And they had to like apparently pull some strings with the government to consider this not monopolizing the video game industry because of how much like percentage of the employees they have.
Hmm.
But you know, you don't want to monopolize because it takes away from quality is the idea.
Yeah.
But I think only time will tell. Personally, not sure. Um, all right. So real quick, we're gonna do something I decided to do about 10 seconds ago, and we're going to discuss what is the best desert island game that you can have. So if you were going on a desert island, it's got all the consoles, PC, all that stuff, but you only get to pick one game. What would that game be?
Are we talking besides Fortnite?
Yes, obviously besides Fortnite, because it's the best game of all time, hands down.
Man, desert island game. That's hard.
And
Oof.
we were talking about it earlier. The distinction is mostly replayability because you know, while your favorite game can be Super Mario Brothers, that's like if you get really good at it, it's like a 10-minute game or whatever. So you might want to bring something more substantial or more, whatever you find replayable in a game. Just some ideas that I thought of. I thought of Mass Effect 2.
No. It's not ideas. You got to come up with one.
Yeah,
Narrow it down.
I'll come up with one. I'll just, spitball here. The Mass Effects are good. I think the story, how it can change and the recruitable characters, different Paragon and Renegade, I think is definitely a big one.
I mean, sure, but even if you play, let's say you play a Fem Shep and a Male Shep, that's 2 playthroughs. Then you play a Paragon and Renegade, that's 4.
Yeah, you got 4 now.
And what are there, 3 difficulties probably? So that's 3 more, so that's 7.
Yeah.
At 40 hours of playthrough, that's only 280 hours.
Yeah. So you think, compared to some other games that's not bad. But
Wouldn't it have to be a multiplayer game? Like,
it could be.
I feel
Yeah.
in order for it to not get boring, like I feel like it would even, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, that's why I really thought about Mass Effect, and that's why Mass Effect 3, if I were to choose one, would probably be the Mass Effect I'd have to
Yep.
go with.
Yep.
You're gonna have to
But
play
I
a lot of
think,
multiplayer games by yourself. But yeah.
yeah, I think and that's when you asked that, that's what I was thinking, because like I love multiplayer games, but it's like on this desert island, am I
Well,
playing
surely you
multiplayer
have
games by
internet.
myself?
Yeah. So yeah, you got
Like,
internet, so you can go, hook up to the World Wide Web. It's just that you're stranded alone, and you only get to pick one game for whatever
yeah,
reason.
okay. I think I'm gonna have to go with Halo 3.
Halo 3, that was a good one. I
Yeah.
was thinking Halo because of the combination campaign and
Yep.
Hmm.
And
multiplayer is
Halo
great.
3, in my opinion, is just like the best campaign.
Mhm.
Uh, I'd get quite a bit of replayability because obviously I'd start on easy, and that would probably take me at least a month to make my way through that.
Tough game for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, and work my way up to legendary. I mean, that's gonna take me years. And then the multiplayer alone, I mean, that has so much replayability.
And the skulls, you got the skulls too.
And
Calls, yeah.
exactly, skulls.
Uh, I would
Yep.
I would throw in Halo Reach for Forge mode.
That that was a close one for me, going between Reach and 3.
Was
I
there a big difference between the Forge and Halo 3 and Halo Reach?
I thought Reach was a lot easier for me to use personally.
Yeah, I think they improved it a lot with Reach.
Okay, I was never a
There,
Forge guy.
there's a bunch
Matthew
of
Derek.
tricks to do stuff in Halo 3, like you couldn't phase objects together like you can in Reach and all these other things. So you had to
Yeah,
do tricks in Halo 3 to do all that stuff. So Halo Reach's Forge was a lot better.
It was basically like Forge 2.0.
Hmm. Do we know if this off topic, but do we know if Infinite, does that have a Forge?
Matthew, you know?
Not
I
right
don't
now.
think it does. I don't actually know if they have plans to add that. I think they do.
Mm-hmm. They've got plans to add a lot of things because I think they were going to add multiplayer to the campaign, right? After
They better.
season 1
That's
is what I heard.
that's supposed to be sometime this year.
So it's just like we were talking with unfinished games, This is
Yep.
like a prime example right here.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think my answer is going to be Halo 3.
Halo 3 is good. Will, did you have anything?
Is it cheating to do Master Chief Collection? Like, is that just cheating?
Ah,
If you were gonna say that, I would allow Billy to choose that. I would allow it. Only because it was released, as a.
I don't think anything could possibly beat that.
That's a
Uh,
really good one.
I kind of think that's cheating.
Uh, okay. Um,
That's just.
We'll call it a very good option if it's allowed. If you could pick anything else, what would your number 2 be after Master Chief Collection? Would it be one of the Halos?
I mean, yes, but in the interest of not picking exactly what Billy's picked,
I
I'm gonna
know.
try
That's why I
something
went
else.
first.
Are you going with Halo Reach? You could always go
Tough.
ODST.
I mean, right now, like, I mean, Apex is fun. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
it's. I wouldn't say Apex is one of my favorite games of all time, but it's keeping us pretty entertained. And
Yeah,
oh, I, I might pick Apex.
that's good.
Here's my
Matthew?
question for you then, based on that. If you're going to sit there on a desert island and play Apex, what are you going to do if none of your desert island friends can get online with you? You going to play Apex by yourself?
Yeah, it's
You just
tough.
going to
Yeah, you
solo?
solo queue,
You going to
easy.
solo
I
queue
can
for
get
the
to
rest of
plat a
your
lot
life on your
faster than I
desert
can with
island?
you guys.
And you just hope that in 3 years that there's still people playing Apex. Still people queuing up.
That's the thing. Like you're dependent solely on online with that one.
That is true.
I will give you. It's been fun though.
I want to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, I really don't know. Like, just because I'm not trying to pick a Halo because Billy's already got that, and you guys wouldn't let me pick Master Chief.
It's slightly.
Mass Effect
It's
3
not.
would be fun. That would be good, but then that is also dependent on the servers. Like, I mean,
Right.
I would imagine the servers are even down right now.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, like we're assuming like you will have the ability to play it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No, I'll
For
just
sure.
pick Apex then. Matthew, your turn. You can't pick Minecraft because that's lame.
Well, Matthew, your section got cut short. Sorry.
Yeah, big oof, right? Um, I think picking something like Apex though is a pretty good idea because you want to pick something that you think is going to be around for a while, right? And then that they're going to add updates to. So, Apex is something that they're continuously updating.
Right.
Same with Minecraft, which is honestly why I would have wanted to choose that, but I can't.
It got
Um,
disallowed by Will.
yeah, because I mean it's nice because every update's going to add some new, some new things, some new playability. So then you won't get entirely bored of it.
Right.
But
Is that enough new? Minecraft also has multiplayer,
yeah,
albeit fairly kid infested, but still has a lot of
All right,
multiplayer.
So Matty picks
yeah.
Minecraft. Colby.
Well, I mean, it's also good because there's mods, so you can add even more to that.
That's
So
true.
I think Minecraft is a great choice.
it
Yeah.
has a lot of options. But
Yeah.
since I'm not allowed to choose it, um, I don't know. There's a few other options I think are out there. Like Stellaris is a pretty good game because you can sink a ton of hours into that,
Yeah.
like a lot, into just one game. So
Mm-hmm.
you could, but I imagine it'd get pretty boring pretty fast.
I'm sure they all would. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm exclusively playing one game, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be bored to heck. Like,
I'm
I'll be
not gonna
off
lie.
that
Mario
island.
Mario Kart was on my mind, but again, like I
Mm.
couldn't play that game for the rest of my life.
Yeah. There's just how many times can you do Rainbow Road before you want to blow your brains out? You know what I mean?
Probably about 3.
Probably about 3.
Oh,
Number of
you've
laps
never once
competing
completed that that race,
I put the bumpers on when I play it.
That's good. Personally, I was thinking, in the interest of something non-multiplayer, because I just think if it were up to me, I would sort of want that single player. I don't know, full experience. If I could just have one game, I feel like I would get too tilted on a multiplayer game. So, single player experience that I think would last me the longest time and get the most enjoyment would be Oblivion. My favorite Elder Scrolls game. It's my favorite adventure game and like one of my top 3 games of all time. Um, and it's not
That's a
necessarily my favorite. I think Halo Reach and there's a Zelda Majora's Mask are probably my favorite games of all time, but Oblivion's probably top 3. And Yeah, I think it's the best for this list just because of the amount of depth. The number of characters is insane, and the number of playstyles you can choose, and you can sort of almost fall into that world as like a, like an experience all in itself, and sort of role play. And you have so many different classes: marksmen with bows and arrows, and mages, and
Mhm.
bruisers, and you can give yourself all sorts of challenges. Not like using any sort of speech, or you can just try and be like a bard and like talk your way through the main campaign and only fight when you have to. Or
Do you have any ideas how many hours you have in that game?
it's
Is it a lot?
definitely over 100. I had
I'm trying to look it
80,
up. But
80 or so. I think my number one save file was 60 to 80 hours, and I didn't finish the main quest in that. I probably did
oh,
all of the Mages Guild, most of the Fighters Guild, and then some of the other ones. Um, Easily over 100, probably 150 hours into that game, which honestly, over my gaming life, I'd probably put more time into, definitely more time into Minecraft and League of Legends.
yeah. What about League? Would you not at all think about League on there?
I think
I'm
about
sure you
League.
just get so frustrated.
Yeah, I put that in there, and I think if that's the only source of video game entertainment I get, I just don't know if that's exactly what I want for myself. I would like to live a long, healthy life, and I don't know if that's conducive to
You'd end up throwing your console into the ocean with that one.
me. Yeah,
Well, I guess it'd be a PC for League, but
uninstall.
yeah.
All right. Anything
Also,
else?
the issue there is you might get banned from your chatting,
Oh,
and then
Oh,
what are you gonna do?
definitely.
the 2 week ban for we don't
Yeah,
care
that
about
would
all
it'd
that.
be what are you gonna do? Fish for those 2 weeks? Like, come
Oh
on.
man, you'd become the nicest person in League of Legends history.
I'd be like, sure, take my red buff. That's great. Go right ahead, buddy. No, it was a great gank. You just died, just so happened that you inted and dove their tower. It happens.
Good try, buddy.
We'll get them next time. Is there anything else gaming wise you guys want to talk about? We've got. I do want to do a sports section. I got some stuff lined up. So, if there's anything else, video game news wise, or
What else you got on your list?
so I had Halo. I had Who's That Champion, which we're not gonna play this time, just because Billy is clueless and Will hasn't
Oh,
played in
it's
ages.
Ari
So
again. Surprise.
Boo.
it's not Ari, but it was a good guess. Let me make sure I've been recording this whole time.
I'll
Yep.
try to brush up
Okay.
before next time.
Okay. We will.
I mean,
Oh,
I'd love to talk about Halo. Like, I hate it. Like, I absolutely hate
we can talk about Halo. I think. Why do you hate
it. Geez, I don't know if we have time for this actually.
it?
He just doesn't like to have fun.
I'm free until about midnight, so I think we might have time. We
I
can
I
squeeze
just
it in an hour and a half.
I hated the I don't even know what it's called, but is it the rec system or what is it like the
Mm.
Are you talking
To
about
like
the
buy
system?
armor and
yeah, like
gun
yeah,
skins and
exactly. Like
stuff.
yeah. With Reach we were able to choose what we wanted to get. Now we're forced to get stuff and unless you're going to pay for the battle pass then you're not going to get anything. So I hated that.
Mm, which I agree
Uh,
with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly about that.
uh I don't none of the maps like I played a decent amount. I didn't play a ton. 12 hours. Um None of the maps stick out to me. Like I don't even remember. I don't remember any of the names.
Mm,
They just none of them were very fun. Um, and, like it's 4 player multiplayer, unless you want to do big team.
mm,
And there used to be the days of 5 player in Halo 3, I think. Social was 5 player,
mm.
and I would have liked to see that. Uh, there was no Slayer, I don't think. Is
Yeah,
that right?
they took.
What?
There is now, but they took a long time to patch in the game modes.
Okay, and is there what's the marksman headshot thing called?
Uh,
SWAT.
SWAT.
yeah.
Is that in?
Yep.
It is in now. That
Okay.
again took some time before they went ahead and patched in the playlist. I'm not sure what's the issue
Okay.
was, but
The ranked system seemed like it was garbage. Like there were times when we would win and I would uh a dude on the opposing team would gain more MMR than I would. Um let's see. I don't know. I didn't like the change to the shield, like the shield damage where they glowed red or whatever.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was that actually a thing? Like they changed the way the shield gets damaged?
They changed like the visual effects aspect of
Yeah,
it.
I didn't like that. Oh, off the top of my head, that's it.
Um, so following your streak, the first point I think is the like most legitimate criticism anybody could have is like all the cosmetics suck unless you pay for battle pass, in which case you're a piece of garbage and nobody likes you.
Hmm.
So it's either pay for the battle pass or just be plain old whatever Spartan who looks like an idiot and sucks.
Or it's pay for the battle pass and look like every other Spartan out there because that's what everybody else has. It's just I hate the way that is done. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
they shouldn't have made it pay to well, any sort of like payment in there. I don't like that. The microtransactions
Obviously,
for the
that's the
battle
way of the
pass.
future. So I mean, we'll never get something as good as Reach. Reach was fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah.
If I could go back and relive my first moments playing Halo Reach, I would do it again, like forever. Playing Firefight in that purple zealot building
Hmm.
by myself, loading up with different loadouts every time. So much fun. I think.
I will.
What do you say?
I was gonna say, I will say, just to play a little devil's advocate
Mm,
on behalf of Infinite.
mm,
Like I completely get where you're coming from with the whole cosmetics thing, and then it being pretty much an unfinished game. But on the other side, they did release it for free,
yeah.
which is which is awesome. And they released it earlier than they had announced that they were going to, which is pretty much like unheard of. Now that that caused there to be issues with it not being completely finished and them not having everything that we like, but I do like that they gave that ability for everyone to be able to play it, and they'll just kind of improve it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I agree the cosmetics sucks, but I don't think we're going away from a battle pass system
Hmm.
with any game like you said. Uh, but I don't know. I think that the multiplayer experience, like the actual gameplay, I think has been like one of the best Halo like shooter experiences that I can remember. Like the
But
game,
I always
the guns just
why
feel balanced. Uh, the vehicles don't seem like super overpowered. Um, like I don't know. I just feel like if one player is better than the other, more times than not, they're gonna end up on top, which I like that in a
Mm-hmm.
shooter game.
Yes.
But then why are we not? Why is there not a group of us playing it? That is,
I
I
like
always go back to that. But
I think I think part of that was just because we started it right on launch, and it was like there was just so many limited options to
Yeah.
do.
I agree.
I think if we started back now with there being more playlists, I think we would probably enjoy it more.
hmm.
I think that
But then
looking back now at like when you queue up for a game, if you're not in ranked, you get whatever Slayer. You play a lot of Oddball. You play a lot of Capture the Flag. You play a lot of King of the Hill. And the, with agreeing with Will's point, I don't really love any of the maps. I think that there are some that are better than others. I like I like a couple of them. I like the one that's in the desert.
what's it called?
I couldn't tell you any of the names of any of the maps.
What's the map on Halo 3 that's got like the green foliage and kind of a smaller
Guardian?
map? Yeah, okay. How long has it been since we played Halo 3?
Now that's probably the greatest map of all time in any
I
shooter
bet you
game.
could name I bet you could name the majority of the Halo 3 maps.
Yeah, I'll
and
give you
describe
that
them.
too. I'll give you that too. The infinite maps have been lackluster.
Hmm.
Have they
They've just
added
been
any maps? Do we know that?
Not that
I'm
I
not
know of.
sure.
Yeah, I think that a lot of them could use a lot of work. I think the streets one that is like the road that goes, it's like a
Mm.
semicircle that leads up to the, I don't know, I guess raised plain that you probably
Yeah,
got to
with like
capture
the
the flag
rockets
on.
in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that one is probably one of the worst maps. I think that. Yeah, Will's right. I'm just having trouble describing any of the maps or remembering really any like key cool points about any of the maps. Um,
All right. Well, we can go into something else. I got that off my chest. Uh,
this,
Feel better,
this,
buddy?
this is
I
good
feel
therapy.
good.
This session started about 40 minutes ago, so you're up to about $100 on your tab.
Oh.
Jeez.
Nice.
I'm just afraid that this is the way games are going to be released now. What Matthew said about Battlefield going free to play, like I just feel like this is the way things are going to go. Free to play with Battle Pass and not complete on release. Like I don't care that like since even if they released it early, like I'd rather them come out with all the game modes and then release it. Like that
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
This early access all sort of started with like there's like a 7 Days to Die game, and well, it really was like sort of the PUBG era of games where you had PUBG that was sort of early access, and
For me, I feel like it started with I don't know if you guys remember. Sure, yeah, you guys do. The Halo Reach beta.
yeah,
Like that was huge. Like
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
everybody played it. Everybody loved it, and I'm sure people saw that. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's when it all started.
Yeah,
I may
and
be wrong, but
even like
for me, that
right before that was Minecraft, which was in beta for a long time. The first game I
yeah.
ever heard of being able to be played in a beta was Minecraft, and that's the way before it was launched. I mean, everybody played it, and it was um, not free to play. So you'd have to pay whatever amount of money, $20 or whatever it was, maybe 15 back then. They finally came out with a release in 2010, I think, maybe early 2011. Um, but yeah, I think that it's definitely overall bad for video games as a whole,
Mm.
and it doesn't seem like anybody's, I mean, doing anything to stop it.
Hmm.
If it's going
No,
to
because they
AAA
keep.
like Halo now and Call of Duty and Battlefield, it's like, okay, well,
Yeah. These developers just keep making bank on it, so they're like, why even
yeah,
finish the game?
it would take
Let's just
everybody
release
in the
it.
industry not buying the games. Um,
Yep.
but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I think
Oh, we'll see with the next Battlefield, I guess.
it might be starting to happen already with the sports games. I know Madden got in a lot of controversy because they carbon copied the Maddens so much that the stadium was literally from Madden 20 to 21 the exact same, so much so that they forgot to edit the 20 into a
Wow.
21 and they left it, and some smart aleck found it when he was looking out into the stands and posted it on Reddit, and EA got in a lot of like, you know, it's like internet drama for that, I guess, but
I mean, we already knew they were copy and pasting anyways, but that's hilarious.
yeah, that's just like the icing on the cake. Whoever's job it was to port that over, I'm sure got a stern talking to, at least I hope so. Okay. Um, as for games, I think that's probably gonna do it. Do you guys want to shift over and talk about sports for a little bit?
Sure.
See what we did there? We even used Madden as the segue.
Yep,
Genius.
it was
Nice.
perfect. Thanks, guys. That was started by Will's Halo rant, so I'll give a shout out to Will for that one.
In an hour, he's gonna be like, guys, you know what else I hate about Halo?
It's gonna be like the anti Halo podcast. Like, could be our name.
Oh man.